Hi, everybody. It's Saturday, October 24th, and I don't want to take up too much of your time today, but I do want to talk about a subject briefly that I believe is very important, and a argument actually, or a topic that comes up when many libertarians or anarchists or anybody who thinks a voluntary society is the best way to set up a society and the most moral way to set up a society that we come across. So what that argument is not how will the roads be built, but what it is well, why don't you move Somalia, right? And why do people talk about Somalia so much? The reason is because from about at least 1990 to about 2006, 2005, there was no centralized government in Somalia, despite the efforts of America, despite the efforts of other countries that tried to set up a centralized government. It was always met with resistance, and it never fully took roots. So what I have today is I like to read off some of the data I have, and what the data does, it compares the time from about 1985 to 1990 when there was a centralized government, and then the years about 2000 to 2005 when there was a lack of centralized government, when there was more of a voluntary society, and there was nothing set up in place. All right, and so when you think about these things, you'll probably think to yourself, well, you know what? He's probably getting off of an anarchist website, or he's getting this information from a source where they push anarchist or libertarian ideals. And what I will say this information I'm getting is actually from a CIA report that documents what has happened in the years of 2000, 2005, no centralized government, compared to the years of 1985 to 1990 when there was a centralized government. So let me just get to the data real quick. So life expectancy increased from 46 to 48.5 years. Number of 1-year-olds fully immunized against measles rose from 30 to 40%. Number of physicians per 1,000 population rose from 3.4 to 4. Number of infants with low birth weight fell from 16 per thousand to 0.3, which is almost none. Infant mortality per 1,000 births fell from 152 to 114.9, dramatic decrease. Maternal mortality per 1,000 births fell from 1,600 to 1,100. The percent of population with access to sanitation rose from 18 to 26%. The percent of population with access to at least one healthcare facility rose from 28 to 54.8%. The percentage of population in extreme poverty, which was less than $1 per day with government, fell from 60 to 43.2. Radius per thousand population rose from 4 to 98.5%. So why is that so big? It's the access to information, the access to knowledge, right? Telephones per thousand population rose from 1.9 to 14.9. TVs per 1,000 population rose from 1.2 to 3.7. Again, information. Facilities due to measles fell from 8,000 facilities to 5,600 facilities. All right. Also, life expectancy went from 46 years to 50 years. Adult literacy rose from 24% to 38%. GDP per capita went from $210 to $600. All right. Really the only negative that I saw in here was access to safe water, which went from 35 and fell to 29%. So overall, we see that the data shows that a society actually, I would say, is better off when it comes to some of the data that we received. Now, I understand there's a lot of other variables in there. I get that. But purely looking at the data, looking at different things, that argument, in my view, is no longer valid. People can't say, well, if you don't like it here, move to Somalia. That's, well, number one, that's not the point. The point is you fight for principles. You fight for what's right, right? You don't like slavery, you can move to somewhere else, right? That's not a valid argument. And now us as libertarians or anarchists, we can actually have data to back up what actually happens in anarchist society. Is Somalia as good as the United States? Do we have the life expectancy, the GDP, things like? No, we don't. But that's a totally different culture. It's comparing apples and oranges. So I believe this provides a lot of hope for us that in an area where a centralized government does not exist, we've seen improvement compared to when the centralized government is there. So these are my thoughts for today. Feel free to comment. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it's informative. And I will talk to you later.